observation deck on the 94th floor of the building. It was voted the #1 observation deck in Chicago last year. Here's the thing. The observation deck at the Hancock Center is $15 for adults. Mentioned it's on the 94th floor of 96. The 95th and 96th floor is a restaurant called the Signature Room. At the Signature Room, you can get a $4 can of soda. So you save $9 to get the same view of Chicago. Recommend it to everyone. On the right, across the plaza in front of the Hancock Center is the Westin Hotel. This hotel on the right is where every visiting sports team to Chicago stays when they're in town. Mexico on the left that connects the church to the rectory, one of the most popular places to take a picture in downtown. Newlyweds, on their wedding day, come down here wearing gown and tuxedo, stand underneath that archway. They get a picture of above them represents commitment, which is a pretty big theme on your wedding day.
Que es la foto obligada aquí en el centro de Chicago.
Está bien bonito.
Take this left-hand turn. You look to right, way out there in Lake Michigan, there is a building. It looks like a hotel on the water. That is one of the 5 water cribs. That is how Chicagoans have been getting their drinking water for over 100 years. Water is pumped from those 5 water cribs to the Jardine water filtration plant. Also, there's a restaurant on one of the 5 water cribs. Great bet for a picture of the skyline. You take a water taxi from Navy Pier to that restaurant. This road on our right is Lakeshore Drive. Speed limit is 50 miles an hour in the summer. You notice that black and gold painting on this turn? This is the most dangerous turn in the city of Chicago. It's known as a Neal's Curve. You need to drop your speed from 50 miles an hour to 25 to make that safely. And this is the low branch I was talking about. Circle right there on the left-hand side, that's how the very wealthy of Chicago make a U-turn in this neighborhood. They put their car on that circle, spins it around for them. Because they're very busy people. They don't have that kind of time. This building on the left is the Drake Hotel. This was the first hotel in the United States to have colored televisions in every room. Home the Amos and Andy radio program. Also, the man who owned this hotel, John Drake, he bought his first hotel during the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. As the city was burning down on the 3rd day of the fire department began blowing up buildings on Michigan Avenue to stop the spread of the fire. So the fire was stopped just before it reached the Tremont Hotel. John Drake knew that the Tremont was not going to burn down. The owner of the Tremont did. Chicago, where you can still see the effects of the lifting of the city. It's called Bridgeport on Chicago's south side. The houses on Bridgeport are on street level. Their backyards are 5 to 15 feet below street level. They have to take a spiral staircase from their back door to their backyard. You see a lot of Walgreens pharmacies here in Chicago. This is one on our left, especially on the tour. Walgreens is a Chicago company started in the late 19th century by the Walgreens family. That's considered air conditioning. If you open one or all 3 of those windows in the summertime, they jump up from the building, they catch a great cross breeze, drags it into your residence. Also, these bay windows, very popular with the gangsters of the early war. This was an illegal speakeasy during the Prohibition era. That was originally home to the Chicago Historical Society until 1931. That's how Chicago got its early blues history. Coming up on Frontera Grill. Frontera Grill was voted the #1 restaurant in the United States last year by the James Beard Association. It's going to be on the left-hand side. It has a black awning with a green trim. They do not take reservations at this restaurant. You have to wait in line like anybody else. And all right, with this bar with the green awning, this is the Baton Club. That is Chicago's oldest female impersonator bar. For over 30 years, they have had nightly female impersonator shows. Ballast tanks. Ballast tanks, 2 tubes that run underneath a boat when filled with water, keeps it even as it's sailing. They also added about 800 more passengers than the boat was built to carry, and they added more lifeboats than it was built to carry. This was right after the Titanic had sunk. That's why they added more lifeboats. At the dock, the Eastland was moving to the port and starboard side, taking on water. The harbor master came down to the boat, told the captain he was not going to be able to leave, that the boat was unsafe. The captain left anyway. The boat made it 30 feet into the Chicago River and then began to lean to the port side. Everyone on the boat ran to the starboard side to try and counterbalance it, caused the boat to flip completely over. On our right, in this section of the Chicago River, between these 2 bridges, is where the Eastland sank. 809 thieves stole their clothing, jewelry, and money. That National Guard Armory was torn down. It's now Harpo Studios. That's why Oprah Studios is considered the most haunted building in Chicago. Homes in this area in the late 18th century called Wolf Point because when they were building their homes in this area, they had to fight off wild packs of wolves. Chicago is known as the convention city. Chicago's had more political conventions than any city in the United States. One very famous one, 1968 Democratic National Convention. Another famous one people sometimes forget about in a building that used to stand here on our left-hand side. It was called the Wigwam. In that building, the Republican Party had their second convention in their history. That's where Abraham Lincoln beat Stephen A. Douglas for the nomination. That brown building with the black glass, that is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Center. Second largest commodities exchange here in Chicago. As we pass the building, look to your right. Above the entrance, there's a board, LCD screen, that tells you where everything is trading at right now on the floor inside the exchange. They used to have a gallery in this building where you could walk in, watch the traders while they were on the floor yelling at each other. You've seen it in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the scene where Cameron making fun of the people on the trading floor. They're 454 feet high. Quick thing, I'm from Chicago, upset that this is no longer the tallest building in the world. The reason this is no longer the tallest in the world, the antenna on top of the building are detachable. If they were built to be permanent, it would be over 1,700 feet high. It would still be the tallest in the world. Right now it's the tallest in North America. You notice on your left they have grooved tracks between the windows of the Sears Tower. That is how they wash the windows. They do not hire window washers. There are over 16,000 window panes on this building. Instead of hiring window washers, a robot called the Spider crawls up and down the side.